Here we go. Okay. For 10 o'clock, I will probably be letting some people in and to come in the first 5 minutes. So if I get a little like pause and start, that's why. So social media. This is a webinar I've actually held off on holding for quite some time. I started my marketing work as a social media manager. That was my entry offer into the market. And I have run dozens of social media accounts. I've done my own. It is where I actually have the most experience in. And it's also, I would say, definitely the top 3 in marketing focuses for small business and solopreneurs. And I think because of that, I've held off on putting a webinar together because I really wanted to make sure it was going to set people off on the right path. And what we're going to go through today is going to be, I'm really excited for this webinar. I'm really looking forward to presenting the information to you today. And what we're going to talk about is social media made simple. And it's going to be authentic strategies for small business owners and solopreneurs. Because I know one of the biggest things that stops us from really knowing how to leverage social media is that it feels very overwhelming and it feels very icky. And it does not have to. I 100% promise I'm going to break down some false beliefs around why we approach it that way. So today, I'm going to show you how you can leverage social media authentically to grow your business. By the time you are done here with me live or done watching the replay, you're going to really understand and have clarity on how you can approach your social media in a way that is very strategic. So you're going to get results out of your efforts, and it's also going to feel very aligned for you. It's not going to feel icky. It's not going to feel like it's all self-promotion. It's going to feel like something that you don't have to fight yourself to do. It's a big order, but this is where we're headed. You all know me, but for anybody watching the replay, I am Cheyenne. I have a business called CO Marketing coach and consultant, and I do a number of different things. I have been working exclusively with independently owned businesses. That is where my heart is, both professionally and personally. And I've been doing this for, I think, over 6 years now. I've worked with over 150 local businesses and solopreneurs. And I live, breathe, and eat marketing. I absolutely love it. I really do. So I have a bunch of different ways that I work with people. I have one-on-one coaching and I have group programs, one of which I'm going to talk a little bit about today, which is going to be based on this system. So one of the reframes I really want to invite anybody who is building a business to step into is to start thinking of marketing as one of the core skill sets we really need. There are very specific skills we need as entrepreneurs if we want to build a business that's going to succeed. 50% of small businesses in Canada fail within the first 5 years. 50% of them succeed. And one of the biggest differences between success and failure is if you see yourself as an entrepreneur and if you invest in building your entrepreneurial skill sets. There's 5 really core skills, things like interpersonal skills, financial management. But one of the key ones is what we're going to talk about here today, which is marketing. As much as we hate it, as much as we'd like to outsource it, as much as we'd like to just throw money at the problem and make it go away, at any stage of business, you should really have a marketing skill set. This was a really big insight that I gathered after working with small businesses and recognizing that no, they need to know marketing. You don't need to know all the nuances, but you need to understand the principles and the frameworks. Excuse me. If you're in the start stage, you're going to be DIYing your marketing. If you've grown and you're in either the stabilize or the scale stage, you might be having a team member do your marketing, or you might be contracting it out, but you still need to understand how it works so that you know when you're working with contractors or you're directing your team member, you know what you need out of your marketing. You know what you want your marketing to do. So in order to approach marketing from that kind of a professional entrepreneurial standpoint, I want you to think of marketing not as random things that you do that causes you to be trapped in the random acts of marketing. I want you to think of it as a system. You should build out your marketing as a system. And this system that I've created is the Authentic Marketing System. It's pretty straightforward. It's very much based on a lot of experience working with solopreneurs and small business owners and what they need and the special context they're building a business in. So there's only 3 pieces to this system. This is the only thing, these are the only things you need to worry about when it comes to marketing. It's your brand, your content, and your funnels. That's it. If you build out this system and you lay down these strategies, everything else clicks into it. And this is all you need to look at. And when you build this, you get a marketing system that supports the growth of your business. This is the difference between approaching marketing professionally as a business owner or entrepreneur, or approaching it kind of piecemeal, where you're just kind of throwing things together and then getting frustrated that they're not working. So just a quick overview of the pieces. Your brand. Anybody who's been in my programs, in my webinars, you've gone through a lot of this with me already. Brand is one of the first pieces of your marketing. There's 3 pieces. Your brand is your reputation. So it is intentionally cultivated if you start with the brand strategy. Your content is how you communicate with your audience, with your market. That is your email, your social media that we're going to talk about today, website, webinar, any content that you create for your business is your content pillar. And then your funnels, which is the path that you lay down to encourage your audience to become a client or customer. That's it. That's all you need for marketing. You don't need to get overwhelmed by it. And today we're going to be talking about social media, which all social media is a channel to deliver your content. That's all email is. That's all your website is. That's all your webinars are. Everything, presentations, everything is just a communication channel. Your content is what matters. And we're going to really break apart some myths around social media today so you can start seeing it from this point of view. What I talk about today is focused on social media, but a lot of it will apply to any of your content marketing, to your emails, email newsletters, anything like that, your website, that type of stuff. A lot of this will be useful in those channels as well. This is the other piece that I really consistently bring to the conversation for small business owners and solopreneurs around your marketing. Most of us, when we do get serious about using our marketing, we work on the activity level. What do I post? What do I do? And that is how we end up trapped in random acts of marketing, where we're putting out posts, we're sending out emails, we're doing these things, these actions, but there's no strategy behind them. So they're isolated. There's nothing to really lay a foundation to make sure they move your business goals forward. When we put on our CMO hat, when we become the chief marketing officer of our business, instead we approach it from this way, where there's a long sequence. And everyone who's been in the boot camp, the campaign boot camp, you know I start you guys here and I make you do a lot of foundational work. I do that in all of my programs. I do it for any client work I take on. And it is the only way you should approach your marketing. Do not waste your time. Do not waste your money with anybody that's just going to start on the activity level. When we design our marketing, we really want to take into account our business stage, our business goal, which then leads into our marketing goal, which then leads into our marketing strategy. And only then do we arrive at an activity. What I'm going to give you guys here today, I've done the first 3 to 4 for you because I have specialized in doing marketing for businesses like yours. So I have already a sense of which stage needs which goal. So we're going to get into that towards the end. But the strategy I'm going to give you today are based on your type of businesses trying to achieve what you're trying to achieve. If you have heard all kinds of social media recommendations, which I'm sure you have, they might be very valuable and very viable in certain context. It doesn't mean it's what's right for your business. And this is something we're going to talk about around the obsession we have with maximizing reach and following trends and going viral. That's not applicable to most of us. It's a complete waste and distraction of your time and energy if that is your focus for your social media. And today we're going to talk about what to focus on instead. So I want you to understand, we want our marketing to be a system, and we want to do it where we start with a strategy linked to our business goals. Very important. None of us have time or energy or money to waste. So everything we do with marketing should be an investment. And in order for it to be an investment, it needs to be intentional. So here's what we're going to get into today in terms of social media. Now that I've kind of framed how I want you to see marketing, you're your own chief marketing officer. You are responsible for doing this strategically and intentionally, and your businesses deserve that. This is one of my big soapboxes I get on. Why I went to marketing for independent businesses is because the big businesses, they have this advantage. This is how they use marketing. They don't have better products or services. They don't have stronger brands. They just have a better approach to marketing. And I want us independently owned businesses to be able to have that same benefit. That's one of my biggest reasons behind the choice I've made in my profession. So what we're going to go in today is my give, ask framework. We have talked about this in the campaign bootcamp. We're going to go a little more in depth into it today so you can understand it. And then we're going to talk about how to build know, like, and trust using our social media, and why this is the best use for social media for the first two stages of businesses, which most of us are going to be captured in. Then we're going to talk about the difference between top of funnel and middle of funnel. This is so you can understand why reach and virality is not the most important focuses. I want you to really get a sense of what part of your system your social media should be playing. So let's go into the give, ask. This is a funny framework I ended up developing for myself when I first went into marketing. I understood that the most in demand was social media management. So ironically, I actually was not a social media user at the time. I had boycotted it. I was very anti-consumerist for a long time. So I had no social media profiles. I had deleted them, made them inactive. And then I went into social media marketing and I'm like, oh, I'm going to need to actually be a consumer of this if I'm going to market it. So it's been an interesting relationship for me with social media. When I first started working with my businesses, I took my marketing understanding, my principles and frameworks, and I took the reality of a small business or solopreneur, and I grafted them together to create this framework. Whenever I don't do social media anymore for businesses unless I'm their fractional marketing director. But when I show a client or I build a strategy on their social media, the basic level of it, if you're only going to do a starter social media, which everybody really should do, it is good, a good marketing channel, is this frequency. Give, ask. This can be 3 posts a week. And what you want to do is make sure you are not just talking about yourself. You are not just promoting your business. We're businesses. We do want to make sure we're harvesting off of this channel. But this is when social media starts to feel icky, both as a consumer and if you were considering using it as a business or you're trying to use it as a business, when it's all self-promotional, when you're always asking for something, the reason you have that visceral ick is because intuitively you're picking up that it's not in alignment with the cultural norms of the platform. Social media is a media form, but the whole basis of it is social. It's definitely changed a lot over the 10 years. It's been around 10, 15 years. I don't know how long it's been around now, but it's still social at its base. If you are just showing up on social media and everything you have posted is about your business and it's promoting and it's asking people to do a sales call or asking people to come to the shop, I'm going to highly recommend you stop until you can restructure your content to match this. What you are doing is actually reducing your brand value and your brand equity. That reputation of your brand, you're building it in a way that it's going to be a negative reputation because you're showing up on a social platform talking about yourself. It's like if you go into a networking meeting and you are that person that doesn't want to join the conversations, doesn't want to hear anything about anybody else, all they want to do is talk about themselves. This is why it's really important we do not just focus on promotional. The gives that I recommend are, we're going to go into this deeper so you can understand it. You need to provide value to your audience. You need to contribute to the conversation happening online. And this I have found with everyone I've worked with, this is when it actually starts to become fun. If we go through all the effort and the stress and the heartache of building a business, it's probably because we really love what we do, which usually means we probably really like to talk about it. So this is the type of social media content that we like to create because we get to start a conversation around these things that we love. The ask is our little mini promos. This is like our little commercials, and it should be done in this ratio. If you want to post 6 times a week, go ahead. You can use social media more aggressively in your system, or you can use it as a basics. I wouldn't go less than 3 posts a week unless you're a highly professional high industry kind of business, in which case LinkedIn, there's a little bit of leeway there. But in general, 3 posts a week should be your minimum. If you want to go up to 6, go ahead. Maintain this ratio as best you can. This is how you show up on social media in a way that doesn't feel icky. So the give portion of this is providing value. I have another webinar on my YouTube channel where I go into content marketing. This applies to all of your content. You should be providing value. This is another reason why social media feels overwhelming and icky to us, because this third form of value, entertainment, is the one that gets talked about the most broadly. It's the one we think about the most when it comes to social media, because the platforms want to use it as a form of entertainment. And for some markets, it is genuinely a form of entertainment. I have found, just like a lot of you are probably not heavy social media consumers yourself, and if you are online, it's going to be a very meta moment right now. If you are online, chances are you're going to use it for one of the other types of value, such as information or inspiration. Like right now, you guys are all spending an hour online. I'm not that entertaining. I'm well aware of that, but I'm going to give you a lot of information. I'll probably give you a little bit of inspiration. So I want you to recognize there's a lot of people out there consuming. Thanks, Liz. My kids don't. They don't think I'm entertaining at all. They're teens now. I'm bruh. There's a lot of people out there like us who are not looking for the TikTok dances. They're not looking for the really short, snappy videos. They're not looking for the highly high levels of production where there's lots of graphics coming in, that type of thing, right? There are a lot of people who find value in online content that provide information and inspiration. You don't need to be super entertaining. And the stereotype of social media content is based on entertainment, because most heavy social media users are, they're younger, and that is their form of entertainment in their age group. You know, they don't actually watch TV as much. They actually do consume social media channels as entertainment. Most of you are probably not aiming for a young demographic. So you don't have to get on TikTok and point and dance. You don't have to make really highly entertaining videos. You can show up with information and inspiration if that fits you better. If that fits your brand, that is a stronger place to build your content off of, as long as you are providing value. It takes time. You need to really understand your audience, because information to one group will be valuable. That same information to another group will be of no value. This is where really understanding your market and putting your CMO hat on and really watching how things perform and testing. This is how you get better and better at the content, because you understand what people find value in. It's going to be a big part of the program that I'm going to run through, where we build our authentic marketing systems. When we talk about our content strategy, we're going to really dive into this part. For now, I want to give you guys some tangible examples, because it helps to see what this looks like in reality. I'm bringing back my Bean There Cafe, my sample brand. I love this brand. I'm going to get for Christmas, I'm buying myself a mug with this logo on it so I can have my sample brand with me all the time. So let's say we are a cafe downtown and we want to have give style posts. We want to tap into information, inspiration, and entertainment. What would that look like on our social media? It's not as complicated as we make it out to be. Keep in mind, this is a brick and mortar. Their business model is based on a consumable. Different nuances. If we're a service-based and our business model is based on a transformation, there'll be different types of information that will be of value. So when we're talking about a cafe with a menu that's constantly changing, type of information that can be of value to your audience would be announcing that there is a new drink on the menu. The Velvet Vanilla Latte is now available. That is just a piece of information that you put out there on your social that provides value. If we're doing something that's like a personal transformation, you can do a lot of education as informational value. I do that for marketing. That's one of the reasons I do my webinars, is because I want to put educational, informational value out there. That's where I lean into my content marketing. For inspiration, it's just something lighthearted, more of an emotional connection. Make some coffee and own the day. I know I cannot start my day until I've had coffee. I have actually recently reduced it because I am high energy enough. But this, my light keeps turning off. I don't know why. This is a simple form of inspiration. You will see this a lot on LinkedIn. The quotes are very popular on LinkedIn because that platform is a lifestyle kind of platform. So there's a lot of inspirational content. This, let's say this is a very simple reel. Add tea to the latte. It looked wrong to me too. This is a very simple reel with a little Google search joke of best coffee and Wi-Fi in Trenton. It's a little inside joke around remote workers that we're not just looking for good coffee, we need good Wi-Fi. I have some really great cafes that are in the Bay of Quinte where they're run by a younger, two of them are run by younger people, and they're all over the trends. They do the funny TikTok styles. They do that type of stuff. So they lean heavily into the entertainment. We do not need to. You can if it's a match for the resources you have for content creation, but it's not necessary. And it can be something as simple as this. It does not have to be as intense as we conceptualize social media to be. The most important thing with social media is that you are consistently showing up and you are providing value to your audience. If you do those things, you will be able to create a social media content strategy that supports your business. And if you do not like what you're doing with your social media, you won't be consistent. You'll find reasons to avoid it. And as some people I've had conversations with, sometimes we put out social media and it doesn't feel right to us. There's a reason it doesn't feel right to us. You should really trust that. You have a lot more value in your instincts than you realize. You own your brand. Your brand is very, very integral to who you are as a person. So if something you're putting out on your social doesn't feel right because you've been advised to, listen to that. You want your social to feel like something that really represents you and your business. It should feel like a fit. When we talk about the ask portion, that's easy. That's like a little mini commercial. Actually, when I design social media content, these are the ones where you can reuse them, because just like a TV commercial, the more repetition, the better. People will start to recognize it. So these are the easiest content to create because you don't need to redo it all the time. These are anytime you have a call to action. The other ones are pure give. You're contributing to the conversation online. That's all you're doing with them. There's different beliefs around this. Some people advise you to have a call to action on everything. Every rule is meant for breaking. In general, for small business owners and solopreneurs, I have found we have to work against there's a bit of underlying discontent happening on social. People feel like they're constantly being sold to and they don't like it. So if you reserve yourself from doing that, you will connect to them with the give content. And then they won't mind that they see a sales post. I literally just put up a sales post that started with, "This is a sales post," because I'm poking fun at it. I'm just enjoying the fact that this is legitimately all I'm doing right now. So this is anytime you ask for something. If you ask them to sign up to your email, if you ask them to sign up to a webinar, if you ask them to send you a DM to learn more, if you ask them to visit a landing page to check out more information. And for certain businesses, we can use social media for direct sales. It's really limited to e-commerce that have a lower price point. There's not too many things, e-commerce being digital or physical products. Most of us are not going to sell directly off of our social. We're going to bring them onto a landing page or into a sales conversation. So just applying this, why are we going backwards? There we go. Just applying this will give you a really good framework to use on your social. If you can show up 3 times a week consistently, providing information, inspiration, or entertainment value for 2 of those posts, and reserving your 3rd one for an ask, a singular ask, only include ever 1 CTA per post. This will be a solid framework to use on your social media. Now we're going to layer on the next bit. Know, like, and trust is the core of marketing. People will not move into a business relationship with us if they do not have these psychological needs met. They need to know you, they need to like you, and they need to trust you, you and your business/brand. We might have, as a consumer, we might do a low risk, one-time, small price point purchase because it doesn't feel like a risk. But if that product or service falls flat, doesn't meet our expectations, we've now eroded trust. We've eroded we're not going to move into a steady business relationship with that provider. And we're going to talk about this towards the end. Consistent, reoccurring clients and customers are your goal. That is the only way to have a sustainable business. New clients are always more expensive to get. Client and customer retention is always the goal you want to be aiming at. So we need people to know, like, and trust us. And social media is the best channel to use for that. It's right in the name. It's social. It's one-to-many. It's asynchronous. You can park your content there. And we're going to talk about this now. 76% of consumers look at online presence before physically visiting a business. This applies to those of us that are online as well. We will check people out. This is just part of the reality of our culture in 2024. What we do first is we Google somebody. Dating apps, you Google someone. Everything we do, we go and check people out on their social media. What that means is your social media is a prime opportunity to give people what they need to get to know, like, and trust you. So when people are checking you out online, you really want to use your social media and ideally your website, but especially your social media, to give them those pieces. And I'm going to go into what these pieces look like in action now. So someone to know, it's not just that they're aware of our existence. Quite often we will be out networking, or we will use an advertisement that people know that we exist, but there's only so much information you can give. Knowing means I have cognitive clarity of what your business is, what you do, and what you offer. I am really bad at this. I have quite a few people who are like, I love you, Cheyenne. I have no idea what you do, though. I have no idea how I could work with you. This is something I need to clarify, but I've been developing my business, so it's constantly changing. But examples of this style posts is an introduction post. You just share who you are and what your business offers. If you follow any solid small business owners or solopreneurs, you'll see they do this reoccurringly. And this is why they're doing it, because there's people that have jumped on their audience, or there's people who are newly checking out their page that don't really know who they are. They don't have cognitive clarity around that. You can do a post that highlights your services and your products. Hey, do you know I do social media management? Something as simple as that. Educational posts, you can provide basic tips and facts related to your industry. The fact that I'm constantly talking about marketing makes it pretty clear to people that what I do is marketing. You will start to see what we can do is we take these style posts and we layer them over the give, ask. So if you want to just do an ask post, you can use that to highlight a main service or highlight. That's our main service or product. That's an easy one. Hey, I do social media management. Check out my packages here. Super, super easy. You could also turn that into an information style post. And you could say, do you know there's 3 types of social media management, or there's 3 elements to social media management? You don't ask them to go check out your page, but you are now increasing their awareness that this is something that you offer. So you want to take these posts and apply them to the give, ask framework. Like the next psychological need that people are going to have is your audience is going to, it's an emotional connection. They're going to want to start to feel connected to you and your business on a more personal level. Social media, again, the reason this is the perfect platform and channel for this is because personal posts are welcomed on social media. Even LinkedIn, which is highly B2B, it's definitely mellowing out. It's okay to bring part of who you are to your social media for your business, and that gives your audience a chance to get to like you. So examples of this are stuff like behind the scenes, show what happens in your business day to day. It doesn't have to be one of those highly orchestrated, oh, spend a day with me videos. You can go to a conference and just take a quick selfie with somebody and mention, hey, I'm really enjoying this conference, tag people because that helps. But it's just showing the person behind the business. Personal stories, You can see how this would be easy to relate back to either something entertaining or something inspirational. If you share stories about yourself that are relevant to your audience, it helps them start to relate to you. It helps them start to feel like they can like you. Fun and interactive posts. If you do want to use social media as a two-way channel and you want to engage, contrary to popular belief, you don't have to. You can actually use it as a one-way channel. I call that the billboard strategy. It's applicable in certain scenarios. And again, we go through that in the program. But if you do want to use it engaging, you want to have it back and forth, you can run polls, you can ask questions. That direct communication definitely increases the like factor. And the final piece we want to establish with our social media content is trust. This is highly important, especially anybody that is working in a B2B or with professionals. We live in a post-trust era. I have to worry about this. Well, I don't want to use the word worry. I have to focus on this really intensely because as a marketer, oh man, the healthy level of skepticism that I have to navigate is it's a professional challenge, so shall we say. But the reality is, especially if you're online, there is a lot of skepticism around when we promote ourselves. So the way we balance that is by building trust with our content. So you need to establish credibility and show people why they should choose you. And you do this in a really authentic way. All of this is about authentically sharing who you are and who your business is. It's not about pulling the wool over anybody's eyes, but it's incredible how often I see really, really amazing business owners that have these really cool credentials that I had to dig or get to know them for 6 months before I even became aware of it. This is the type of stuff we want to put on our socials because it helps people understand where our authority comes from. It helps them learn that they can trust us. You know that the people who don't have that are the ones who are willing to push the falsehoods front and center. So we really want to take the opportunity to share the true authority we've built. And one of the ways we do that, post examples, testimonials and reviews. That's why these are so common, because they're social proof that builds trust. It shows the results we can help people get. And it's someone else vouching for us, which is much more strong than us saying, hey, I'm awesome. Case studies or proof of your professional activities, either accreditations, anything like that, showing success stories or results from your clients. Those are an important piece to include. Advice. If you give really detailed tips and how-tos that showcase your knowledge, it increases the level of trust. It's one of the reasons I do webinars, because as a marketer, there's 1.5 million marketers out there, and a lot of it has become very predatory. There's a lot of MLM marketing schemes where they're building a business off of telling you how to market, but they've never marketed their own business. It can be very frustrating. So I do a lot of sharing so you can genuinely see the depth of knowledge and insight I have, because that creates trust. Yeah, Penny?
So I understand in the give, ask,
Yep.
and I can see where the case studies and the expert advice would be the give. Where do the testimonials and reviews fit into that give, ask?
So you can use any of these to build like, know, and trust. You can make them in the style of a give or an ask. So you could use a testimonial. Let's say I'm opening up my coaching packages. I can use a coaching testimonial to say, hey guys, I just opened up 3 new slots. Would you like these type of results? Check out my landing page. Or I could use it as an informational post, and I could say, did you know one-on-one coaching helps more business owners succeed because we need support and guidance, without asking them to check anything out. So you can actually take any of these and you can turn them into those style posts. This is where you get to layer it on. Over the course of like a month, you want to make sure you cover the know, like, and trust. You don't have to hit them every week. It's not about that. One of the beauties of social media is that you put your content out there and it stays there. So that's 76% of people who are going to go check you out online. What they do is they go to your page or they go to your feed and they go through your posts. They absorb what's already there. So if you've been regularly putting this out, they're going to get a chance in the 10 minutes they spend investigating you online. They're going to get a chance to see content that creates know, like, and trust in a way that is very contributing to the conversation and not just promotional. The other beautiful piece about this is foundational social media. This should be what you start with, and it should be always at the core, regardless of what stage you're at. Cool thing about this is you can make this over, let's say, 2 to 3 months. You have all of these posts, park them in a folder on your computer, reuse them. You do not need to keep making new posts. After 3 months, you can reschedule the same posts. If you have a super busy period, either with family or with delivery, you can just recycle these posts into your social media. This is the core of social media. This is what you should always use it for. Okay. So that's the know, like, and trust. You need to be building this somewhere in your marketing system. I highly recommend social media as you leveraging it for this reason. And we're going to go into that in the funnel conversation, but you can also do this on your website. You can do it with your email. You need to consciously understand how you're creating these, because it is psychological requirements people have to be able to move into a business relationship with you. If you are not taking the opportunity to give them the pieces they need, you're not leveraging marketing or social media properly. It's not that hard, and it actually is pretty fun. And I love that you can recycle them, because I know content creation is a huge demand for us small business owners. I'm a marketer, and I love content creation, but I struggle with it for my own business because we're busy with all the other aspects of it. So this type of content that you can reuse or you can plug in when you've got a busy period, it's a strategy that I have recognized we need, because we don't have content creation teams, right? It's us DIYing, and it's a lot of work to do. So having something that you can reuse is really, really important. Now we're going to talk about top of funnel versus middle of funnel. Anyone who's been in my programs, we've talked about funnels before, but we're going to do a quick overview so that you can understand the frame that I'm talking about social media in. So our top of funnel, this is another word for the awareness stage. In the campaign bootcamp, for those of you here who are part of that, we created a funnel for one specific product or service, but your business has an overall funnel as well, where people start at the beginning, where they first hear that you exist. They're like, oh, this is a thing. I didn't even know. This wasn't even in my universe. That's the awareness stage, where they first hear about you. And that's the top of funnel. Then they move to the middle of funnel, which is the consideration stage. And that's where they're starting to build a relationship with you. That's where they're starting to get to know the know, like, and trust, those consideration requirements. And then a certain portion of them move through to the bottom of funnel, which is that conversion phase, where they take action and they move forward into having a business relationship with us. They become a client or customer. At the top of the funnel, this stage is all about attracting new people to your brand. This is like, hey, I didn't even know this person existed, this brand existed, this business existed, and now I do. The goal of top of funnel content is reach. When we hear things on social media, what do we most often hear about? It's reach. Here's the hashtags to use to get more reach. Here's the trends to follow to get more reach. Here's the trending audio you need to use to get more reach. That is applicable if social media is your top of funnel. For most small businesses, it's not going to be your top of funnel. And we're going to get into that. I'm going to really, really dig into this so you can understand the system behind it. Middle of funnel, this is that middle stage, the consideration. This is where people know who you are. Now they're looking for more in-depth information. It's the goal for the middle of funnel is build a relationship and provide value. That's the whole goal. This is what most of us need to use our social media for. The bottom of the funnel, which is not going to be applicable to very many on social unless you have an e-commerce, that's a lower price point. That's converting interested people in your audience into customers. And the goal is to get them to take an action. It's not a huge, huge portion of social media. So depending on which stage of business you're in, and I have put years here, but it's very fluid, right? It just depends on how you are approaching your business and what your goals are for your business. But at the very beginning stage, from the very, very kickoff of your business to about year 3, 5, your marketing goal has to be go to market. And what I mean when I say that in marketing terms, there is a market of your target audience out there in the world. It's a nice little pie. You start a business, you're over here. In order to sell something, these two things need to be connected. When we first go into business, marketing is going to the market. We need to get in front of the people we want to serve. There's three main ways we do that. We can advertise, where we pay money to get in front of the market. We can network, where we put our time and our presence to get in front of the market and get to know them. Or we can use content marketing. That is social media. It is the least effective go-to-market approach, strategy for small business owners and solopreneurs. It takes the longest time. I love content marketing. I love, love, love it. But it is a low and slow approach. If you've started a business and you can wait to have money coming in the door, content marketing might be applicable. It takes content creation skills. You're going to be competing with everybody else that are using social media for their top of funnel. And there's a lot of people doing it at really big scale. So you need to either really love creating content, or you need to have the money to pay someone to create the content. So I do not recommend social media as a go-to-market strategy. You will occasionally get a couple people who come in just through your social media efforts, especially if you're following these frameworks, and slowly you'll have people trickle, but I would not recommend it as your main focus. Instead, most small business owners and solopreneurs in the first couple of years, you're going to get bigger results out of networking, online, in-person collaborations, that type of thing. That's going to build your business. That's going to be your starting point of go-to-market. If you have some advertising budget, you can also dip your toes in those waters. When we move forward, the starting stage, we're really trying to figure out what we're going to sell and who we're going to sell it to. The technical term for that is product market fit. Once we're like, yep, I know what I'm selling. I know who I'm selling to. Now I want to make sure I have a stable cycle of leads and sales coming in. That's the stabilization stage. Our marketing goal when we're in this stage is that pie. We now want to claim a portion of it. And that's called establishing your market share. That's a portion of that market now knows you as their default provider, or you're the default person they will recommend to others. You are top of mind. And that means that you will have a steady influx of leads and customers because you now own that portion of the market. They're in a business relationship with you. We always have a churn, so we always do need to be marketing to bring in new people, but this is the main focus of that stage. And once again, social media as a top of funnel is not a great choice here. In establishing your market share, the most important thing is client and customer retention. It's deepening the relationship with them again. So your social media is a perfect place to connect continuously with your clients and customers after they've had that first purchase. It's the perfect place to keep them coming back when you have more offers, like the new latte that the cafe puts out. They have probably had people who are following their social media who hadn't been down for a couple of weeks and see that they have a new latte. Like, oh, I want to try that. So they make a point to go back down. So even in the stabilization stage, your middle of funnel is the best way to use your social media. It's to deepen the relationships with your audience that you've built and with your market so that you can really establish that as your portion of the market. At this point, advertising becomes a really good top of funnel strategy. If the networking is not feeling like the best use of your time because you've been building your business and you're busy in it, you can now take some of those profits that you've created. At this point, you should have a marketing budget and you should have some advertising spend, and you can replace some of your networking energy with advertising, and you can bring people into your funnel and into your social media using advertising as your top of funnel strategy. And it doesn't really take a lot in advertising. That's another webinar waiting to happen. And then for those who decide that, they've stabilized, they know what they're selling, they know who they're selling to, and now they want to go bigger. And not every business does this. Some of us just want a certain size of business and we're happy with that. If you do decide to scale, What we now need to do is that portion of the pie that we have, we need to expand it. There's a lot of fun stuff for marketing here where we can go like, we can move into an adjacent market, we can open a new market, a lot of really cool stuff that happens here. Now social media becomes a smart choice for our top of funnel because we probably have the budget to allocate to the content it requires, somebody to manage it, to make sure we're super active, because that's what it takes for top of funnel social media. It's only at the scale stage that we need to start thinking about reach and trends and hashtag optimization and using trending audio and making sure we have a potential to go viral. If you are not looking to hugely scale out your business, your social media will be best used in this foundational way that I've described, in creating the know, like, and trust by providing value. So that's the top of funnel versus the middle of funnel. For most of us, most of our social media, and what we should always start with first, should be middle of funnel. It should be relationship building. The top of funnel doesn't come in until later. And you're going to want to make sure, if you do want to use it for top of funnel, you understand the resources that it requires. If someone is young and building a business and they love social media, they're a huge social media user, spending 6 hours every couple of days creating content doesn't sound exhausting to them, this would be a smart top of funnel for them. Most small business owners and solopreneurs that I work with, that's not the scenario they're in. So they really should use social media for our middle of funnel, for our relationship building, rather than bringing in new people. So that is what we have covered today. This is the way you can approach social media so that it feels authentic. You don't need to follow all the trends. You don't need to figure out how to go viral. You don't need to figure out how do you do reels, and how do you do reels with a hook, and how do you use trending audio. That is not on your plate right now. What's on your plate is making sure you are following a give-ask ratio. You're consistently providing value and contributing to the conversation. You are not just there for self-promotion. And you want to make sure your content is giving people the opportunity to know, like, and trust your business. You do that and you have a solid social media game. Keep in mind that you are operating in the middle of the funnel. You can play around with top of funnel stuff. I do it for fun. I put out a reel using trending audio Saturday, or I think Friday or Saturday, about a live theater program that I went to see. I play around with it, but it's not my main focus because it's not part of my content strategy. And going back to the system we talked about today, I don't want you doing random acts of marketing. You don't need to. Your time is much more valuable, and you're building a business. So you can do this strategically, which is using these frameworks of give, ask, and building know, like, and trust. And understanding that it's the middle portion of your business funnel. It's not the top of funnel. I'm going to quickly... Oh, I need to grab the link for this. Anybody who is interested in building a full system, I have a program that I am about to launch, which of course I cannot find the link for because I have a million things open. So if you have any questions, I will be opening up questions in a second. Get ready to ask me, though. I see a couple of things in the chat. There's my link. There we go. Okay. So I am in October to the very beginning of December. So we're going to clear out before the holiday hustle really comes in. I know there's a couple of people that are already signed up. I'm really excited for it. I'm going to be taking a group of people through completely creating their 3 systems, or their 3 strategies: your brand, your content, and your funnel strategy, so that everything you do in your marketing is supported by that. I'm going to drop the chat in here. If anybody's interested in checking it out, there's the link. And now that I've done my little spiel, we will move on to questions. Dun, da, da, da. Okay, I'm going to unspotlight myself. Wasn't sure if I'd finish that up in time. Yay me. Okay, any questions on this, on social media, anything in general? I love to talk marketing. Hi, Karu.
Hi, thank you very much for this webinar. It's amazing as usual. I have 2 questions. So I'm trying to establish my calendar, give, ask,
Yep.
and I'm doing pretty good. And I have a question for this one, for like. personal stories. So share, what do you think about sharing negative thing on social media? Like,
Ooh.
yeah, like a long time ago when I was working on my tea sommelier certification, people always ask me, how's it going? How's it going? Right? Because I was sharing the courses. But
Yeah.
once I failed one of the module because I went to the dentist
Oh.
right before right before the tasting test. I couldn't taste, so I failed.
Ah.
And then I couldn't tell people because I felt so bad. But after I finished, I revealed, by the way, actually I failed and I felt so bad. And then their response was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was good. But like I said earlier, this program, I dropped the ball yesterday.
Yeah.
I am not ready to share, right? What do you think about sharing negative thing about your business?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then also this may be I should talk to you one-on-one, but forgive. Um, I don't know value I can give to my customer, but information about tea, definitely.
Yeah.
But I want to more focus on lifestyle aspects.
Yeah.
Like my thing is affordable luxury, healthy, delicious, high quality tea, but I can't talk about health benefit. I just
Yeah.
can't
I know
because
you're
we are
limited to
not, yeah, we are not allowed. Yeah.
that.
So yeah, those two questions.
Okay, Ashley made a good point in the chat. She said, I say share it, it makes you relatable. Um, completely agree with the caveat that you need to be at a place where you can share it from an authentic space. So, like we said about the value, entertainment or inspiration or education, you need to be at the place where you see the value in that story. If you're still like, oh, like if you're still feeling bad about it, you probably haven't gotten to the place where you're like, you know what? That's how life goes. And sometimes in business, we need to give ourselves grace. When you are at that point, that is the point to share the story because you will have value behind it. You're not going to just get on and vent or get on and right, like there has to be a purpose behind the story that you're sharing, and it takes us time to process things to get to that purpose sometimes, to move through the personal reaction and get to the value behind it. And we always want to make sure it's connected to some kind of value to our audience when we're sharing.
Okay.
And what was the other question? I know I had an answer for it, but my brain is going blank.
The lifestyle,
Yes.
which one it fit,
Yes.
value, information, or inspiration?
It's going to be, there is definitely a huge amount of informational value you have. Inspiration is a huge point of lifestyle positioning, which is what you're talking about. So we've talked a lot about mindfulness, but even the beauty of the ceramics that you use, like all of that is very visually inspiring to have people take a moment with their tea. So you have a huge opportunity to use inspiration for the lifestyle aspect without having to go into the health. You can really visually show it. You've got a knack for photography at the same time. This is a really cool conversation we'll have to have in our next one-on-one coaching. Lifestyle positioning is a great strategy for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Penny, I see yours in the chat. With our personal stories, what is the theme to the story that relate to how it fits with our marketing strategy? So this takes a deep dive. It's definitely a part of what I go into in my program when we create our content strategy. What we're going to be looking for is our content pillars, and we sort through everything we have and everything our audience wants, and we take a lot of factors in and we land on our content pillars. And those will be the type of things we're looking for in our personal stories. We'll be like, does this relate to one of my content pillars? Then it's a personal story that I can share with my audience that's on brand and in alignment with my strategy. What essentially ends up happening is you identify 3 to 5 core topics that you are going to be including in your content. And any stories that fall within those 3 to 5 topics are the type of stories you want to share. Does that answer your question, Penny?
It wasn't really so much a question, but it does answer, it clarifies. No, I was just saying with personal stories, the same thing, but I guess I framed more like a question than a comment.
Or my brain's in question seeking. Everything's a question.
That was great clarity and confirmation.
It's fun. This is where social media becomes fun because we get to actually contribute to a conversation. We don't feel like we're just pushing ourselves out there. That's when it feels icky. And trust your instincts on this. If it feels icky, something is not in alignment. And it's probably a good idea to put the brakes on it until it feels right. Everybody I have ever worked with social media, once we go into it and I show them this approach and I show them the content pillar approach, like, oh, that feels right. Now I'm excited to actually do my marketing. Whereas before, there was an inner resistance to it. This really helps shift. And it also helps you actually sit down and put the work into it, knowing that you can package it up and put it in a folder and have it to reuse. You're not stuck on a content treadmill with this. You've covered your basics. There's only so many stories you need to share. There's only so many pieces of professional accreditation you need to share. You don't need to constantly pump out new stuff. You can reuse it. This is the foundational piece. You can always have additional things that you add on top of it. But once you create this type of content, you can lean on it over and over again and save yourself a lot of time and energy.
How that fits in with core values.
Yeah, right? I know we did not start businesses because y'all wanted to post on social media. I am 100% certain that was not the prompt for you starting your business. This is what I mean by all of my stuff has been designed working with solopreneurs and small business owners. You guys are not looking to spend a lot of time on social or content creation. You want to know the 20% it takes to get the 80% results. And all of my strategies are built on that. Because as much as I love marketing, we don't have time for it. Right? We need marketing to push our business forward. And eventually we'll have enough money to invest in somebody else doing it or invest in, programs that support us, that type of thing. Okay. Any other questions before we shut it down today? It's been fun having you guys join. I always love doing these. Social media is a good topic. It's definitely well worth investing in because it is a really good marketing channel. And if you don't feel like you're actively using it yet, look at these frameworks. Look at using a give, ask cadence every week and look at how you can create content that creates that know, like, and trust. Get that in play because it will really, really hugely support your business and it will support your growth. And showing up on social media in such a high value way that's so consistent and strategic, it gives you a huge boost because a lot of people aren't approaching it from this angle just because they don't have the knowledge and they don't have the guidance in it. Okay. I will say goodbye, ladies. Thank you for joining me. Have fun on social. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I always love follow-up. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, thanks.
You're welcome. Have a great week, guys.
Thanks, ladies.